Okay. Slowly, slowly, everybody's coming in. Wonderful. Hello, hello, hello. So you can choose. Hi. Hi, Francisca. I see some of you I see the pictures, others have their camera off. You can choose whatever you prefer. Just going through, yeah. So first of all, thank you very much for your flexibility. Maybe next time I manage to get the live YouTube going. I know why it did work this time around, so I got a good chance to make it happen next time. Otherwise, we do another soon. Happy to see that everybody could switch within minutes to a Zoom call. That's quite brilliant in many ways. Not everybody can be with us from the group tonight, as usual, but that's fine. I'm recording this call and it will be accessible to everyone in the end. So a few things about tonight's workshop conversation. There is a chat. I guess you're all familiar with the chat that you can write into your questions, comments. We're not such a huge group, so it's relatively easy for me to keep an eye on it and read it. And it's a crucial element of this conversation. If someone is, you can write in German or English. And if you wanna talk, you can raise your hand. There's this little, I don't know, it says, I don't know whether you know the raising hand icon, or otherwise you just can write into the chat, or you can just open your microphone and ask a question. We're a relatively small group, so that should work fine. Good, I think that's everything. And we will just keep going for an hour, 1.5, as long as we have a conversation to just cover all the questions you might have or comments. And I mean, I could talk about this topic endlessly, but I'm not going to do that. This is really your place to kind of come back with all sorts of responses to the material you have received or your experiences right now on the planet or in general regarding the topic for tonight is our human makeup. You know, what is that? How do we experience that? I do not want to fully sum up what I've sent to you. I think that would be a bit much. I just want to say that I believe it's time that we remember, rediscover, exchange on what we experience. Oh my God, my son, what is it? Sorry, that was my son, I don't know. He will come back if it's extremely important. I continue. Yeah, so humans. I really would love to hear tonight from you what your memories are, what your experiences are to walk around, to walk this planet in a human, you know, kind of spacesuit, as we call it, in a skin suit, you know, to be here. You know, do you have memory? Do you hold memory of where you come from? Do you hold memory of being in your mother's womb? Do you hold memory of going through the birth experience or trauma, as many call it? That interests me a lot, you know, how much is reactivated at this moment on the planet, now that we are going through these intense shifts that are orchestrated cosmically for us as the beings that are on the planet and are meant to anchor in this new frequency, this higher frequency, this diamond grid light that we can only anchor into the planet through our bodies. This planetary grid is meant to become diamondized. It's such a funny word. It's like demon, but it actually means diamond. Diamondized from the crystal state into the diamond state, which is a state that many say has never been reached. I mean, it's a new experiment on this planet. You have heard of several golden ages like Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, and so on. This is a new golden age where we diamondize the matrix, the planetary grid. And it has to happen through us, through our bodies. That's why we need to crystallize, why we need to release all density that we hold in our fields, in our auric field and all other light bodies that we hold, in the 12 material density dimensions that we hold. So that's a lot of work. And that's what's going on. And that's what we came here for I mean, we knew this would happen, you know, but it's when you're out there or up there or down there or whatever you want to call it, you always say, easy, I'm gonna do this easy, because you cannot imagine this, you know, the density, that the level and degree of self-denial as a divine being, and self-limitation. You cannot imagine it when you're not in the body. And we know that throughout these years since 2012, many souls that actually signed up to come here and do this work at some point said, it's too much, I'm going. And that's fine. That's fine. But just to say, we are really tough. We are really courageous. And I'd love to hear from you, really. What going through the material, doing the practice, what was your experience? Or the other question, do you remember? Do you feel comfortable, you know, in the human spacesuit, in the skin? Do you feel that you're not the body? Do you have experiences of that distinction? Can you consciously distinguish the two? What you truly are and what you are not? Okay, Dennis just wrote, I find it quite difficult to crystallize the densities. Can you give me an example or a situation where you realized that you're stuck, maybe, or that you don't know how to do it, or what does it even mean to you? Can you just give me a bit more? For instance, now you have a headache. Yes. When did that headache start? I'm just asking because, and I'd like to hear from all of you for just quickly, how was your day today? How did you feel energetically today? Okay. Yes, Alison is saying that today was heavy, and then I get back to your other comment, Alison, about your thoughts. Okay. Michaela had a wonderful day. And this is saying that she might copy headaches from her boyfriend, I believe. I feel that water is really crystalline. I mean, I feel it's the only thing that immediately connects with my crystalline being. And that, oh, frozen. And personally, I find it quite difficult to choose food. I feel never hungry or always hungry. I can't quite say. For Milena, it was a crazy day energetically. I felt that I'm a woman with lots of blood flowing out of me. I guess, yeah, that means you had your period. Is that correct? Or did you something else? Or was that energetically? Yes, okay. Yeah, hardly any foods feel right these days. Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, stomach aches and itchy skin. Sometimes on these days, I personally felt also it wasn't easy today. I felt, yeah, this slight disorientation. What usually, I felt like I know whether I need to sleep, walk, or take a shower, or feed myself, or drink more. But more and more often, there's this energy so intense that there's so much adjustment going on, and actually crystallization. Denise, when you say you don't know how to crystallize your density, a lot of it just happens to us through the CMEs, the coronal mass ejections, the solar plasma that is blown into the solar winds. And it's just pouring down into us, the Schumann resonance multiplied. It's so intense. You usually, I just need to lay down, and I cannot. It's funny, I mean, you can always do healing work, because then I go anyway in completely other frequencies and the upper realms, but I cannot. Phone calls are a horror. And all sorts of things that are linear are very hard to accomplish. And yes, the feeling can be to feel like you're walking on the moon, like you hardly can move your body forward, feel heavy in that way, but it's a funny heaviness. But it's not. I foresee that it's getting worse before it gets better. So be prepared. It's not wrong. I'm sure you know that. Imagine the density we have put into our electromagnetic field, into our own auric field and electromagnetic system and wiring, through our beliefs, through the trauma we transmute from our ancestry lines. Of course, we are the collective at the same time as we are the ancestry lines that we are correcting and transmuting. So we do not only feel that, we feel the whole collective shift, and rather sometimes shift, and then again, the next load comes. And we do that work too, because the law of one has been activated. We're done with my story, your story, done with that. There's only one story, and that's that of the planet and not of us. So the planet is really going into this diamond matrix, and it needs us to just release. And that, on a physical plane, that really means to drink water constantly, to not care. So, I mean, if you're hungry, eat, but really food is not so easy to digest these days. It's just too much on the stomach. The stomach needs to transform into eating less, into eating much lighter. We are crystallizing so much that when we come out of this, a lot of food we will not touch it anymore, because it will not be for us anymore. Of course, we will learn to, upload energy from the Mother Earth, as well as from the sun directly, and the stars and everything around us, as much as our heart feeds us, the full cosmic heart, and not the human mortal heart. That has also been, I mean, we died many deaths, these years since 2012, many deaths as a collective and within our own soul journeys. And these deaths, of course, were deaths of belief systems and ideations of what we are and what we're not. So, you know, we have every right to be tired because we are light machines, and, you know, we are constantly transforming and clearing. It's actually constantly happening. It's only that we can also go in with our inner eye, with our consciousness, with our awareness, and go to these very specific places within ourselves that create pain, layers of pain, or yeah, we probably call it pain most of the time, or an experience of stuckness, you know, that your knees give in, or your knees no longer bend for a moment, or your shoulders freeze. You know, all sorts of things happen when too much information comes at once. But, you know, we can release everything. There's no limit to release. When we've learned, you know, like the practice that I gave you, learn to crystallize, to go in, and we can talk about this in a minute. See with your inner eyes, feel, learn to feel, you know, these are not very interesting anymore. They don't function, they're not very helpful anymore, these outer eyes. They're misleading us a lot. I mean, not just us, the whole collective. We thought what is what we see, and that's inverted truth. All these inverted codes, we're now here to bring back into their natural, innate coding of an inner connection with everything. So yeah, the feedback about today. We also have these up-leveled moments, right, where we really feel like very light and connected, and the colors look different, and we know we just came out on the other side from what exactly is not always clear, which is, it just feels like we've worked through something, we've released something. And that is the stairway to heaven, as we call it, you know, it's a spiral. You go up and you can reach up into higher information. And that's really our job, right? To touch up the higher consciousness, the highest possible consciousness that we can hold in the human body, and we pull it down. I mean, not necessarily like this, but through our channel, through the vessel that we are, we can channel in, anchor in these much higher information, you know, higher coding, upcoding, keys and codes that then sink in, that come in, that clear in through our body and anchor into the earth. And these can be moments of great release and lightness, where you almost feel like you're not touching the ground anymore. You know, you become so light. And then the next curve comes on the stairway to heaven, and you're done. You don't feel like you go down, but you're actually not really going down. It's just another curve coming, and you can't see around the corner yet. It's integration, you know, it's integration, and it's the other part of the work, you know, when you've, yeah, it's really integration and working through information until you're through that. I don't want to call it a tunnel, but it does feel like you enter a field, you open up a field of information, of data, and sometimes it's so vast that you don't know how you've ever worked yourself or find your path through it, but you always do. And that's something I've certainly learned in these many years that I do this practice, that you always come out on the other side, lighter, brighter, wiser, connected on a new level, you know, where so much has just left you. And when you maybe journal a bit, you know, write up how you felt like 2 months ago or something, you see that you have shifted into higher awareness. If you don't do that, you sometimes forget, you know, and it's good to get a reminder from someone else. Or sometimes, you know, you meet a person in the street and they say, hey, you look different. You look so soft or relaxed, you know, and then that's a nice feedback. because it shows as relaxation when we have released old data, unconscious or conscious densities. It always, the gift of it is a new level of relaxation, a shift in your thinking, again, more relaxed, less negativity, less thinking. Alison is saying these moments feel brief these last weeks, the moments where you feel so clear and maybe crisp or light. It's intense, yeah. It's just, you just come up to, get a little bit of fresh air and then boom, the next, yeah, it really is. It feels to me like that too. And especially, through, I feel like from the new moons are intense, the full moons are intense, and you have like a little breather in between. But then you also have the spring equinox, the equinoxes are intense. I mean, it's really bang, 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 bang. But, we've been told that this would happen, that it would get intense. And we've been prepared since 2012. Hi, Tara. If this had happened 2012, when actually the planet went 5D, we would have burnt, would have just gone up in smoke. So we were prepared since then, steadily. And it's intensifying, certainly into next spring, when it's the cosmic plan and the binary code is written for this, that spring equinox 2023, the collective grid will be in 5D, will be locked into 5D. So that's an enormous shift that we will all feel. It will feel lighter, more harmonious. But up until then, it's a lot of work. And I think the work is enjoyable when you know that we have waited aeons, for such a long time for this earth to find back into its innate state, into the state of God consciousness, really, of wholeness, which means your God consciousness and the planetary's God consciousness state, the whole Sophia Christus, where everything is written back up into its wholeness and all polarities are merged and harmonized. And it's just wonderful because this has been timed exactly. And we came in, we were called and asked, do you want to come and help? And some were commanded, more or less, you have to come and help. But I mean, you still chose, you still said yes. And that brings us back just quickly or longer, for if you want that, to the 144 guardians. The founder guardians, these are ancient master beings that oversee this whole process and came here to guard the planetary grid and bring it back into the diamond state, or for the first time into the diamond state. And it's just humbling to know this, and that these very, very first original volunteers came back to do this work. And, they look out for all of us. And we're so well guarded and guided. And that's also part of this process that we're going to really release. And you were mentioning that, Alison, thinking, thought, we are in the process of 5D means senses, like 3D is emotions, 4D is thought, and 5D is sensory, but not just the 5 or 6 senses. First sense to me is intuition, and then we have the 5 physical senses. But we're opening up like 355, I think, sensory senses that are of a cosmic nature. So, this is a lot. So it's a lot of information. And this is also going, you know, our brains are being newly winded, activated. Those, how much, 5% or what, that most of us only used, we didn't need much more because we just operated more or less just in the 3D plane, right? But now that we're going quantum, we need much more brain capacity, cosmic reading, you know, and that's happening as well. Our 355 sensory senses are being activated. So yesterday, or when that was, yesterday I also had headaches, like very acute, twice, like bam, for like 20 minutes or so, and then it was lifted completely and everything was crystal again. And I knew that what it was, so I just breathed through it, and I just don't mind it much, you know. I mean, I think we learn to understand and read it and just let it happen, and also learn to not give full awareness to it at some point, you know, just accepting it, blessing the body, commanding, activating, you know, your highest vessel consciousness, knowing that this is a crystalline process from within, visualizing it. And if you as a commander, creator being, you know, fully accept this process, knowing that it is the transformation you've waited for, and that you're the one who needs to hold it and anchor it in for the collective, then you are honored, and you let go, you know, you surrender, because you know it's a divine state, you know, you're going back to really being light again, to experience yourself as a light being. And we don't need to mentally assess this. There's a much higher wisdom that's coming in through the heart, through every cell, clearing out stuff. And if you still loop, be aware and shift it. I believe there's not much else we can do about looping, you know, than to say and command. I'm not even sure you need to command your mind to stop looping. I don't know. I don't believe in that at all, because, you know, your unconscious can't read negative commands. So if you say don't loop, it's going to go on looping. So it's just a matter of shifting. Go into your heart, find it, breathe. Breathing can take you anywhere in the entire universe. When we go into mind, that's a response to some, to me, I read it often, or usually I read it as something got forgotten, you know, something got forgotten. So I forgot that I'm a divine being, and I can actually relax and sit in the back seat. I don't need to be the driver all the time. And if I go into mind control, which thinking in a way is, it's trying to control something outside of you, because the mind cannot do any inner standing. They can only do outer standing. It tries to control the outside, which we cannot. So it gives you a headache. I cannot think anymore. I had an experience in I don't know, my son was 1 year old, so 2010, when that stopped completely. Since then, I'm not thinking. And, you know, you can still have a mind, but not think, meaning loop in any sort of way. Your mind is crystal clear. There's nothing going on. And it's just to say, this is a blessing. It was a gift to me, so I didn't. It's just, in a way, it's something I got. I want it back, so I got it back, and I called it back. So it advanced, of course, my entire memory fields. You know, I could very quickly. I went through a process of just awakening everything, because I think it was great and helpful that this just didn't stop me any longer. But for everyone who's still looping, untrain yourself from thought, from thinking, by going into your heart. Learn to activate your heart always. Breathe, breathe. When we breathe, we immediately stop thinking, especially when we do really conscious, deep breathing, where we focus on the breath. Fully connect with the breathing, every single aspect of it, every single physical aspect of it, the lungs, the air that comes in. Maybe you can read the codes, because every time we breathe in, we take in new God coding. Really, it's completely in a way, unwritten energy that we can use for ourselves. Take it in, we breathe out, we go into a state of unity. We can, with an inner focus and intention, go wherever we want in our body, in the omniverse. When we do that, we do not think anymore. It's impossible. You cannot think and be connected fully. Thinking takes you out of connection. So we know by now that thinking is just a waste of time. In that sense, the looping. We can assess, we can be guided from the heart, but it takes maybe a bit of courage, and it certainly takes your full knowing that you are, now I want to say the word, Alison, that you are complete. We once had a discussion about this. I'm not sure, do I really want to use this word? Do we have another word in our language? Ashana awareness. That's what I would say in my language and star language, just to bring up your full essence, your fullnessness, your fullnessness. We need to work on activating the full diamond heart that fills your field so tangibly that, I don't know, thinking becomes a very remote option, far, far away and far too cumbersome to even go there. And this is just something, it is a practice, it's happening, we are supported, and we're called upon to do this from within, the inner work of filling ourselves with diamond light. Diamond light is the most stable light that exists. It's crystalline is important so we can be light beings fully again, and everything can move through us, and we are not stop it with our thoughts and emotions and then create karma. That we're done with that. That's why we're crystallizing, so experiences can move through us. But the diamond state is a very stable God consciousness state. That's the Sophia Christos. That's the Hieros Gamos, maybe you've heard that too. It's the sacred union with all your parts, with all your higher selves, and with the God state, with God consciousness itself. You become really, really whole. I like whole better than complete, maybe, because whole is closer also to holiness, your sacred God state, which simply means, simply is not really a word I want to use because it's not small, but we come from that God field. The God consciousness is what we emanated out of and are still part of. We can never drop out of it. We are an expression of it. And this cannot no longer just be a mental thought, not something you read somewhere. We need to practice this. And it is in the everyday, the practice is, a lot of it is through the heart, that whenever you take a decision, whenever you are somewhere, whenever your mind wants to loop, you say stop. You stop and you go right into your heart to feel, just feel, and be courageous with what you feel there, because you might not like it. Maybe you feel like, I'm done with this, or with a situation or a relationship or whatever. You might just radically 100% feel that this is no longer for you. But we've learned, we've trained, and not just us, I mean, thousands of years, collective habits in a way, to give information that comes in through the heart portal, which is pure and direct and free, to give it to our mind, to take it apart. And the mind can eternally play with stuff because there's no guidance there. You can look at something from a million perspectives. Every perspective has something for it to say. It's not endless discussion when you give it to your mind. But we've been trained into this. It slowed us down, and it made us kind of insecure and small and unhappy, I guess. I'm just going to read a bit. It's just Alison is writing that you can all write it, of course, read it, of course, as well. That there's she has lots of thought triggers, which then can create headaches. I cannot expect anything else but that it does create headaches, because that timeline, that how can I say this? The frequency of the mind, of the mental logic, is too low for where we're at now on the planet. So if you go there, you have to create a headache. And you will stop. It will frustrate you. And if you feel like you get triggered everywhere, I just say fantastic, because it just shows, it's that mirror, right? It's just showing you all these aspects of, what I kind of say now, but it's also the collective, and it's not necessarily distinguishable. Who cares? I mean, I don't care anymore where I and the collective. For me, it's the same. And I transform for the collective anyway. We're all here for the planet. So when you have a lot of triggers, read them as signposts carefully. Really, really step back, slow down. Try to take one, the other, and the other, and the other. Maybe they're all connected. You understand, they're all coming out of the same wound. But they play out differently, because maybe I have developed different strategies around them. It does take a moment where we have to step back and read, always knowing that you are not the wound, you're not the triggers. So you can be quite relaxed reading that stuff. You also know when you can shine your light of awareness onto something, it transforms already. It wants to, it's all coming because it wants to be released in the light. Like with all wounding, with all programming or densities, it all wants, we can no longer hold it down. It's impossible. That's why the workload is heavy at the moment, because it's all coming up. And we need to breathe, and we need to learn to create a space for it, and to understand that we're looking at it. So what we are, our soul awareness, our light of awareness, the eternal light being that we are, looks at these triggers, reads them, and releases them. Sometimes simply by saying, okay, I understand. I don't no longer need you. I love you. I will let you go back into the state of neutrality. And maybe you have to do this a whole day. Maybe you have to do it for 3 days. But the only way is to step right in it, or rather, stop, kind of maybe sort of a freeze image sometimes, or just, really go in with the light of your awareness and not not ignore it. We cannot walk around it any longer. We have to go right through it. And always breathe. I mean, yeah, and that's interesting. Alison is also writing, and I mean, Alison, when you write that you then try to focus on good things, but just make sure, and I mean, that's lovely, but make sure it's not a distraction from where you're actually called to go right in. It will just come back and come back and come back. So maybe you can partially, I don't know, it's so different for every single one of us. All I can say is we need to listen. I don't know, not necessarily with these, but we need to listen with our heart and take this really as the commander, you know, creator beings that we are, not being overwhelmed. That means breathe, feel your feet, feel your body on the ground, ground yourself. Discern what's going on. What do I think? What do I feel? Do I know where this comes from? Is this from my life? This life? Is this older? Okay, that's enough assessment. And then breathing. I breathe and I release. And I'm done with this. I don't need this any longer. Thank you very much. I release you into the light of neutrality. And then Alison, and I had this discussion with Erich once about the ego, what the ego is. The ego is pure survival strategy, you know, it's pure survival. So when ego kicks in, and we always know when it kicks in because it's unpleasant. It makes us feel small, tight, fearful, defensive. And it can, you know, it sometimes shows like, whoa, I'm big, I'm great. But, you know, ego can show in many ways, but it's always the source is a wounding. There is, you know, there is like a healthy ego, you know, where you know who you are, right? That's not the same. Ego can be, the negative ego is when it takes from you, when it's painful, when you experience limitation through it, or you're taken out of connection with everything else around you. When you start separation, ego often means it's a form of separation. A need to be better than others, more beautiful. That's from the survival wounding. You were not seen enough. You didn't get enough love light. You were not acknowledged fully as a being of light, as a divine being. And that probably applies to 99.9% of all of humanity. You know, we lost, that knowledge got lost on the planet. It was, I mean, lost, I don't know, repressed. That we approach each other as light beings, as divine beings. So our parents' wounding was the first we were in contact with, their self-limitations. And we needed to survive. So, you know, you early on develop survival strategy on this planet still. And that's slowly shifting, you know. But it's really hardwired into humanity still. And we are the bridge builders. You know, we are the ones who release this now. And for our children, for our children's children, and whether they are our own or not, you know, children, that does not mean they have to move through your body. The children are children of humanity. And of course, we release souls backwards. You know, we always move in the time-space continuum. There's no linear time. So in a way, love your ego, love it, hold it like a baby, and just tell it it's all okay. I see you. I recognize I recognize you as a light being, as a being of love and light, as a whole. You're whole. And yeah, it's just it's an experience, early experiences of lack of love and recognition that we then need to develop an over large ego for survival. So in a way, it's a healthy impulse on this planet. We are all slightly narcissistic, some more than others, but we all are, because we had to learn to survive. So we all learned to protect and to sometimes be too big and then too small. We haven't learned to just hold ourselves in neutrality, really, in a love state. It's part of what's going on now that we can release this. Yeah, Milena's writing about the heart, that she gets clarity through the heart, but then finds it difficult sometimes to act accordingly because of the world around us. That, yeah, I mean, what comes up is just, the world around you does not even exist. So who cares? This is radical, but this is really actually how it is. This is a hologram. You come in, this is your movie. Hold up the highest state you can. The rest is mental illusion and delusion of illusion. You create a reality, an idea of what others think and are, that is really just created from out our minds. We don't know anything in that sense. And we also create the others. We call them into our paradigm. So we really have to stand tall and rewrite the story of the world and of the human being that no longer needs to check with what the others think. Because it has been something we've been trained into, and it has been a delusion of an illusion. So it's completely, it is not, it's not, there's a definition of real. What is eternal is real, and all else is not. So it is a moment on the planet where we are called upon, and we came in to hold a divine state of neutrality, of love, no matter what. In other words, we are here to train ourselves back into be fully heart. And as I said, not the mortal heart, not the ego heart, but the cosmic heart that always walks under the law of one, under the mother-father law. So the more we practice being connected to ourselves within, the more we practice our inner state, our innate, and let our innate speak, the more it becomes natural to us to be in the world and act our lives from heart. And we no longer are distracted by what we believe is outside there and might judge us. It disappears, literally. And that's how we can create a new world, by bringing in, by focusing on our inner I don't want to use the word truth. Let's say inner knowing, our divine state, that we can that is pushed through our heart portals, the connected, the law of one that is activated, from which we now act when we speak from the heart, when we go into action from the heart. We need to train that muscle. And I know for some of us, it still takes that consciousness, an alertness, an awareness to, whoa, I almost shifted back into a loop. No thanks. I act from here, I speak from here. And I might have to first ground myself fully into the 5G matrix, into the earth grid, so I can have the inner stability to speak from my heart, or be silent. I mean, nobody urges you. You hold the field anyway. When you crystallize, you've done your work. You don't need to talk any longer. In a way, we are as energy. You hold the state in your field. Yeah, not all. So I have here two questions. One is from Milena about something I said in the video, that not everyone that looks human is a human. And then she's asking, what beings are there on this earth? Do all beings have a free will? The planet here is actually like a cosmic airport, like a cosmic hub. Earth was meant to be, and then God hijacked slightly, and is meant to be a cosmic airport, a hub for all beings in the omniverse to travel through and out into other galaxies. So and then the other thing, those who are incarnating here, this is actually something that I'm currently spending a lot of contemplation and conversations with incarnate and non-incarnate beings on what is a human being. And it's certainly, we know that we came from all sorts of places in the omniverse, in the cosmos, from far, 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 other universes, some from this universe, some from this galaxy, others from other galaxies in this universe. So if we would take off these space suits, these human space suits, we would all look so very different, shockingly different. We would probably start to kill each other just because we would be so shocked. We could not imagine how different we are wired and look. And that's one thing. But what is a human even? There are the prop people. I don't know whether I've explained that already. So information that has come through tells us, and that's not such new information, but I've only learned about this or remembered this, let's say, a few months back, that there are these 144 guardians of the earth, old souls. Really the first ones, the original volunteers, the ones who now oversee the whole project of diamondizing the matrix. They hold 100% soul light. And every time they're reincarnated, they created generations, right? I mean, we create here on the planet through our babies, we create generational lines, ancestry lines. And it is said that every time these 144,144 came in and created new generations, that those generations don't hold 100% soul light. They also hold soul light, but not to the 100% like the guardians of the planet. But they are considered humans. And then there are prop people, and the prop people don't have soul. those are people who look like humans, and they are here for us who have soul to really show us whether we're doing well, whether we're doing fine, or whether we are just sort of going really in the wrong direction and just create great distortion on the planet like we did. So it's like walking through an airport, you know, let's say, and there are prop people. And if you walk through an airport consciously and harmoniously, people automatically move to the side when you walk through. If you push through it and you are aggressive and arrogant, you know, people will push back and then maybe even hit you or hit each other. So the prop people are really here to show the souled humans whether we can hold our balance. And we needed them. And we have obviously not done a good job. And it is foretold that as we are now bringing balance back to the earth, there will be less and less people on the planet because many of these prop people will just leave. They will just be taken off because they're not needed. A lot of what we call evil, or you know, the cabal, you know, that 1% that we say controls everything, they are prop too. They're also prop to us, the guardians of the earth, you know, telling us, hey, you have not done a good job. Making sure that it is remembered on the planet that humans are incarnate divine light. We didn't do a good job. So that's why we come back, right? And feel an obligation, but also feel honored, of course. And there's a lot more to say about this, and I probably will have a call about this topic alone once I have it fully covered. I mean, there's lots to say also about, you know, the emanations out of the God field, out of source, out of the Godhead. There is a threefold flame, 3 emanations happened. And the Emerald Order, brought the Christos, the Christed human bloodline to earth. And that's actually the 144,000. But then a lot, of course, there is interracial, you know, with aliens, and also there's a lot of interracial, what's the word? Yeah, mixing, I don't know, has also taken place. And that's right. I mean, that's what should happen here. This is a being human. I still try to answer this in full, and as I said, I've not fully. I kind of forgot, because I myself, I'm an alien. You know, I've pretty much overridden all my human codes by now, so I can hardly remember what it's like, and I think that's why my memory plays tricks. It's actually quite funny, because I cannot remember certain things, which is good, because before I would probably just repeat things that I've heard about that topic. I can't even say, you know, I could never quite say what humans are. I always said you, the humans. And now more and more information comes to me, and I know why I say that. But at the same time, all that human memory is being rewritten and recoded back into my alien or extraterrestrial or non-human codes, because I'm not from here. So the question, who is now a human, you know, is it just when you're here and you create the spacesuit, the human spacesuit, the skin, the vessel, in that time you're a human? That's at the moment, that's my answer. That's what a human is, a being who can make a body for the time that they are here. But I have a sense that it's more tricky than that. And you know, I don't know if you ever met a being that is not just a prop person, but holds something really dark, that, you know, it's kind of like it's like a remote control. Yeah, you can feel it's not, it's almost robot. It's not organic. That can happen. I mean, I've seen that once. My sister's seen it once too, and it's just a really shocking experience. I mean, there's so many beings here, and many are not even they do not even take up a skin suit, and some, but they're here, very, very present. So that's all that I'm going to say for now, and then maybe we have a more focused conversation on that topic another time. I hope that's okay, or otherwise ask me another question. Free will, yeah, I'd like to talk about this. Free will, what is that? Okay, one thing. We have free will here. It's part of the game plan in the universe. But then again, there's two things. One is that you as a soul journeyed, and not to the planet here straight away. It's too dense. You've journeyed a long time in all sorts of places. And you bring, and we all hold, so much information in our electromagnetics, and there's distortions, there's repairs that is needed. That's what we're doing now with the crystallization, and with working with our teams who help us to speed up the process. With star beings, with star energy, with solar energy, it's all here for us to do this. But having so much underlying information pulsating through us, that you could ask, do we have a free will? I mean, are we not just, but my answer, kind of responding to the world out of that programming. And of course we are, but then again, still we have the free will to go choose love or fear, choose control or freedom. And that's one aspect. The other thing is that free will was misunderstood on the planet, and it led to us believing that we are gods and goddesses that can do just whatever we want. That's not exactly true. It's a slight misreading of the situation. That reading can only take place if you are trained, if you've trained yourself, you accepted that you respond to the world from the mind, because it's a separation. If you lift yourself out of the oneness, if you disrespect the law of one, and you place yourself above everything else as God and Goddess, that's not what we mean when we say we are God consciousness. Then we speak about the fully activated law of one. And when you are fully activated God consciousness, and you remember, not mentally, but in your experiential field, that you are divine light, then your free will is divine will. It merges. Your free will, yes, you can say more of fear or more of love, or from heart or from mind. Yes, you can always choose that. That is your free will. But then again, when you are back into your divine state, that free will merges with the divine will, because you then act and are always in connection and as oneness, God consciousness oneness. And then free will and divine will become will divine. And that's the more proper reading of what free choice is. It is will divine expressed through you. Franziska, im Video hast du von New Earth Star. Yes. Earth Star. The Earth Star is our chakra in the earth. So when we accepted more as a human race, when we accepted more and more limitations, and we accepted a state of fear, and we accepted that we need to mind control our lives, we also cut off our chakras. We no longer kind of blocked or stopped or cut our chakras that are in the earth, our energy line into the earth, as well as our upper chakras into our higher wisdoms and former lifetimes and the cosmic, or access to cosmic knowledge. So we said we're body, so we cut here and we cut where our feet are, really. So we were no longer through, we you know, why did we do that? Because we thought we were almighty beings. We don't need connection to our higher selves, to the God consciousness state, to oneness. We can take us out. We go into individuation and separation. So we also cut our connection to our planet that we are here to guard. So we blocked or ignored or cut the chakra, our energy that reaches into the earth and the upper chakras. And we became that 7 chakras body that a lot of yoga teachers still teach, which is unbelievable to me. We have so many more chakras. But okay. Also, you know, we've opened up chakras within the body because we also have the navel, a very important connection to our environment, to connect like this. And the Earth Star is a very, very important grid and portal and consciousness for us to remember that we are 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D, we're all the Ds. And we are the land. We are the matrix, the grid of the planet. That can only be activated if we remember that we are one with the land. We are the land. And in order for this to happen, we need to obviously open up that chakra again, full on, so we can really let our light flood into the earth grid and let it illuminate and fully activate all the codes, full God consciousness in the planet, connect all the dimensions in the planet through our bodies with the 3D, 4D, 5D and up. So it's very important to really check your Earth Star and open it up by going down there, finding it. It's like energy is silvery. It used to be black and white, but it's now merged into a silver energy that you can feel, you can sense it when you reach down into the earth. You feel like a cloud, just something that sort of stops you, and there is the Earth Star. And it's part of you. It's a sun. That sun, a star is a sun, is part, very, very integral part of the human body as the land. So when that is anchored in once fully, when it's anchored in, fully activated, then it gives you a great stability. In a lot of yo-yoing will not happen anymore. You're just anchoring actually from there full on into the center of the earth, hollow earth, where we actually reside a lot of the time. You know, when we say we travel, we often travel into the center of the earth. That's a home to us too. And we currently, I think humankind and maybe the spiritual communities are rediscovering how important it is for us to travel in the earthly dimensions and to reactivate and upload codes of Earth, the 1D, the original Earth codes. And there's so much more to say about Earth. It's actually a very complex sun. Okay. Yes. And you say 3 things. I think I connected there the Earth Star with the base and the sacral, or what was? Kannst du die 3 Ebenen nochmal für die Practice kurz erklären? Franziska, is that what you mean? The 3 levels? Is that the Earth Star, the base and the sacral? Or what? What? I can't remember.
Ich weiss aber irgendwie, ich kann mich Englisch, oder? Ich habe verstanden, etwas in der Erde und dann ist eben der Earth Star, was mit mir zu tun hat und dann aber nochmal etwas Innerliches, oder? Immer so angesprochen zum, ja.
Okay, I think I know what you mean. You connect your base down into the Earth Star, which is in the Earth, and it is you. It is a part of you, your energetic makeup. And from there, further down into the center of the Earth. And they're all home to you. We can no longer think of ourselves as a body. It's not, absolutely not what we are, and how we connect, how we move, how we shift, how we heal, how we transmute. You are home in the earth. We are inhabitants of the earth. We are in the earth, at home, not on the earth. So when you do more of that sort of work, going down from your body down and not always up. We always thought we have to be very much focusing on our upper connections. That's not exactly true. Our connections, we really came here to this planet, not for us, for the planet. And of course, we undergo an evolution because, we come here with a plan and so on and so on. But on the whole, this whole plan has to do with wanting to transform the energies in the earth and on the earth. And we can now call them a planet and a collective and a humanity. But really, it's just the energies that are here. We want to transform them. And we can only do that if we go into a body and we can touch human ancestry lines, so we can transmute them and heal them. But really, as an energy being, we are home in the planet. We connect with the planetary codes. That's, we feel so good in nature, in the water, in the oceans, or even going in your meditations, let yourself sink all the way down, 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 down into the center of the earth, or however far down you want to go. It's the most nourishing. And stabilizing, gives you this. The earth codes are so strong in their anchoring. So it's an important part of when we practice clearing or simply feeling comfortable on the planet. We need our roots, and they go all the way down into the center of the earth. Okay, do prop people have a free will? No, because they don't have soul. Learn about the other many chakras. Diana Cooper and Tim Wilde, I write this in here. They work with 12 chakras. You find them on YouTube. They wrote books. I think that's a good start. And then you learn to feel where there's more chakras. I mean, every cell is a chakra. Every cell is an energy center. But the main libraries are in the middle line. But there are many, many more. You can also try and just Google that topic, see what comes up. Some people work with 24, 23 chakras. Personally, I did check this for a while, and then I felt like I go intuitively with what comes up. as I go on in my life. You know, I stopped focusing so much on counting. I know to me there are the sheer endless amount. The higher up you go yourself in consciousness, the more layers you open up again, which holds again information. I mean, we have these 12 make a lot of sense, and we work in 12. We do a lot of work for our bodily existence here. That's I think a very good focus. Because also 12, you know, we exist in these 12 material density layers and or realms, and we can touch upon all of them when we work with 12 chakras. The pineal gland is very important. I would check that daily. I mean, in a way, if you set it full on, activated it, saw it, you know, jump into action, into full light, I can't see why would it stop, right? It's activated. But of course, it depends on how much you still loop, you know, with doubt. So you're closing maybe certain things down again a bit. So check again, maybe weekly, you know, and after a while you realize, oh, it stays on. Or maybe you come to the point where you say, I want it even wider. I want my activated, I want a more highly evolved pineal gland, so I can read absolutely everything, which of course we are all working to it. But again, you can command this. You can say, I want more, I want a higher, I want a more evolved pineal gland. I want to absolutely read cosmic data completely. Then you can say that, you can go in and you can command this. It's another actually good conversation we can once have about giving commands as the mighty I am presence. How to command. What happens after 2023? Well, how can I say 20? This is the year of return. So we have to work a lot this year. Everything that we've ever thought, said, and done on the planet, we're working backwards through the Akashic records to clear them. And then 2023, there should be a shift that we feel. Not everybody will feel it, but the ones who do so much light work, we will feel it. A lot of projects will evolve on the planet, that we're now starting to plan towards, and 2023 will be a release moment where things happen much faster. Into 27, in a way, the new world will be felt again in a much more tangible way. It's still preparational work that we do. And we're still, into 2700. Until then, we're still in the Aquarius rising phase. We haven't touched the age of Aquarius only starts in 2700. So we're still building up. But of course, very tangibly. The shifts by 2027, a lot will have been taken off. All of the old systems, the economical systems, political systems will have broken away because they cannot hold on to the high frequency. This is still, I believe, the last year that we see trickery and absurd attempts to mind control us on a mass level, that they still try to bring control back through fear. I believe after 2023, this will stop because it's just costing too much energy. It's not too many. The collective will not be responsive to it. And up to 2027, a lot, because of these old systems, will have crumbled away, and we are already now building on new projects, new ways, new collaborations. So much fear will have been taken off the planet that, you know, right now we're still a little bit in between, in the old way and the new way, where we feel completely new freedoms and co-creation and collaboration and community life will be established between 2023 and 27. And it will go with a big push, you know, after 23, this will fly off the table in a way, you know, we will feel much freer to live our dreams. The dream of the dream of the dream, which is real, which is our sole purpose, our sole longing. We are really just preparing to, you know, throw off all the baggage, so we can fly, you know, we can really be that free and light. And we do it, those who do that work, do it for everyone. It only takes these 144 to do the work. That's enough, because these are mighty beings. And, you know, when you come from clarity, crystalline God consciousness, the diamond heart, you hold enormous power. And it's enough to transform the entire human, I don't know, it's not about the human race, it's about the planet. It's a celestial project on the whole, you know, it's not even a human project what's going on. It's a celestial project for planet Earth. Light language, yes. I will have to stop the call in 8 minutes because my son is feeling very sick. So I will stop the call. I hope that's okay, in 8 minutes, but teach us more about light language. Is spoken. So where you from in your galaxy? Light language is usually galactic. So within, but it can also be more local than galactic. You know, there are many light languages. Every galaxy pretty much has its own version of light language. Then there's the star languages, which I speak. And I also speak an omniversal language, which is understood throughout the entire omniverse, which is a diplomatic language. It's pretty much mirrored on the planet. And I believe that's why English is so much more natural to me, because I always choose the most diplomatically, humanitarianly, widely spoken language wherever I go. And on the planet here, it's English. And these languages, when I was initiated back into my language, I had someone, an incarnate at my side, who almost literally kicked me to speak my language again. And I'm grateful to him. And, you know, it just comes to you. If you feel that it's something's pushing from inside, that you're sort of done with this language, or you want to have your home language back, you feel it. And sometimes it's nice when you're invited and sit with someone who's already speaking it, to open up the layers of self-limitation that we put on ourselves. You know, maybe we were killed, you know, because we spoke it. I'm very certain, because it's sort of a secret language, right? Not everybody can understand it. So you might have been persecuted for it. So you feel blockage, you feel chains, you know, around your tongue. So, but I have helped a few friends around these past weeks or months, because it is becoming an urgency. It is something that's simply coming back to us as we become more telepathic again, more connected. Our cosmic heart is pumped. You know, we are reaching out and back into the cosmic God consciousness state. That's why we're here. That is the wholeness that I spoke of, the solid diamond heart. So our languages want to be spoken. And they're obviously they're pure vibration light code. You cannot decode them through the mind. You read them through vibrationally. But they can be translated. And it's quite fun to speak it. Because the nuances are so playful. And it's not linear, so it does not tire you out. And you can remain in your vast essence and multidimensionality when you speak it. So if any one of you is more interested or wants to do a workshop on this, or just come by and we try to figure this out, get you to speak your light language. We sometimes do it in seminars or workshops here locally, or I can just sit with you and see, help you. I remember when I was literally really had to be kicked physically to speak it. But luckily that person did not give up, and yeah, it's a gift to have it back. Yes, there are many, many light languages. Every galaxy has its own light language. And yeah, and there is the diplomatic, of the alliances, that's the universal star language that I speak, is for beings that sit in councils and have diplomatic work to do cosmically. So we need to be able to speak a language that is understood in all the galaxies. Okay. I want to say that I enjoyed this very much. And also I have sent, you will receive in about 3 minutes, the recordings for the next chapter of this class, the second part on soul. I recorded it today and it will go out to you in 3 minutes, scheduled. So I hope, is there anything else that you'd like to have answered right now? Okay, then this recording, I will put that onto YouTube tomorrow, and you can go there to listen to it again. And I'll send out information for the next call next Tuesday, the 17th. I will send information out to you next week for that call. Okay, have a good night. And just don't despair. It's all good. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Be gentle with yourselves. Take lots of breaks. There's nothing wrong with your bodies. If you have aches, let me know so we can release them, work through them together, and let other people know that feel tired or weird. It can loop. The fact that, we cannot think anymore is very difficult for some. And Alison, you work through this. I know you can do this with ease, but you're transmuting and transforming a lot. So you'll do this, but be kind to others too, because everybody, you are more conscious, so you are more aware and can help yourselves better than others who don't know what's going on. And they might not want to know, but we can still be nice to them and hold them in love and light. So the planet thanks you, the guardians thank you. You do powerful work. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.